So I was asking around in my community on Instagram, what was holding up nail artists when it came to e-filing? And I got a couple answers that said knowing when to stop removing gel, right? When you are rebalancing or resurfacing those clients over again. So in this video, I want to show you how much to remove for your rebalance. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Paola of PaolaPonceNails.com, and I help you master gel nails by specializing particularly in soft gel systems. If you would like to continue growing with me, then at the end of this video, do consider subscribing. As per usual, I will be working with a structured soft gel system, and you might be thinking soft gel means soak off gel, so why not just soak off every time? The truth is that soaking off nails every single time a client comes in, or even on yourself, is going to take a toll on the natural nails. So we want to avoid that. And new advancement in gel nail technology and really popularity in gel nail technology like structured soft gel has really shone a light on the fact that, again, we don't need to soak off even though a system is categorized as a soft gel. So I'm going to be removing, this is, I believe, almost sure, Nail Thoughts with Excel Builder. Nail Thoughts is the base that works the best for my flexible nails, but there are different pairings you can do, including just like originally the Mega Stick base with Excel Builder for the Cocoas line. So let's dive in. So here I have my natural nail that's actually only grown out to about a week's worth of growth here. And I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity that I lost a little stud due to some gardening activity. So I'm going to go ahead and remove, and then I'm going to show you how much we are going to leave the nail or when to stop. How do we know when to stop? Now, when we are removing product, it is very important that you know what tools you will be using. If you are just starting out, I know you may not have your go-tos quite yet. If you are an intermediate or an advanced nail tech, then obviously you will know what products to use at this point. I'm going to be using Staleks products today. Staleks is today's video sponsor, and I will tell you a little bit more about them later on in the video. Now, a nail nipper is going to obviously trim nails, but I actually like to also dedicate one particular nail nipper to removing studs, crystals, charms, embellishments off of the nail, because we are going to dull them faster. And if we use those on embellishments, studs, or crystals, then we are actually going to damage those blades because they are very precisely cut at the edge, which makes them a little thinner on that cutting edge. So again, designate an old nail nipper to removing studs, crystals, charms, whatever it may be off of the nail. So this is the one I've designated for my gems. I'm going to go ahead and pry these off. When you are doing this, I do recommend that you wear your safety goggles. So I'm going to do that right now. When you are prying things off of the nails, things can fly into your eyes. Ask me how I know. Back to prying these off. The reason why you want to do tools like pry these off, not just go with your e-file and, go over them, is because when you're using your e-file, if you have a carbide bit attached to that e-file, it may be okay. But if you are using a ceramic bit, you definitely don't want to go over those embellishments or studs because you will break that ceramic, okay? All right, so we've removed our studs. To get started on this rebalance, what do we do now? We now want to use a bit that is going to help us remove. When I am debulking my nails, I like to use something a little tougher to start, right? Not super crazy TV, those large flukes on a removal bit. I don't have that much product on this nail. Even though I am using a semi-hard builder on this nail, it's still very thin. This is why I like soak off builders, semi-hard builders, because look at the thinness of that nail. And I'm telling you, I've got gel in there. Definitely have gel in there. This carbide bit is a fine pointed cone shape. I'm going to use a high speed. Anytime you are debulking, you want to use a high speed. A high speed is going to be at least half of your RPMs on your e-file. And again, you're all going to be at different levels. I'm just going to tell you at least half of the speed. And then from there, just work with what you feel comfortable with. Now, when students ask me what amount of gel should I remove, how much should I remove, my answer is the product will tell you. Obviously, if your client hasn't been in like 6 to 8 weeks, remove like 90% at least of that product. In any case, when you are using structure soft gel, you are always going to be removing the majority of the product. So do not think about it. Just go into removal as if you were going to remove fully, unless your client has very little bit of growth and they're coming within like 2 weeks. That would be the case, right? But for the most part, you're always rebalancing. It's like you're always working on a new set, essentially. But we're always leaving a little thin layer to protect the client's natural nails. Now, if you're new to Staleks instruments, they are trusted by so many companies, so many brands, so many nail artists because of the quality that they are able to produce. They are originally from Ukraine, and again, the precision of their instruments is like no other. If you are interested in these products that you've been seeing me use in today's video, do check them out. I'll link you down below. They have distribution in over 90 countries, so you are sure to find someone in your area distributing Staleks products. Whether you are a beginner or you are a pro, working with quality tools is important because they are going to do the work for you, which is why I highly recommend Staleks Pro instruments. All right, so here we are, and this was the first time I used that Carbide, and maybe you know me in my channel here, I don't use Carbide too often. That Carbide remove like butter, absolute warm butter knife cutting butter. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Now at this point, do you notice my nail is pretty flat? You guys can see that, how it's flat. That's the goal when you're using structure soft gel. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to my ceramic because it heats up slower on the natural nail and it doesn't shave the keratin off of the nail as easily as your Carbide bits would. That has been my experience. And if you had to ask me why do I prefer ceramics a lot of the times while working to rebalance or whatnot, is because when they touch the natural nail, if you're using a fine grit especially, they're very gentle. So now I'm going to switch over to a ceramic. I at this moment don't have a fine ceramic. This is in between a fine and medium, but once you get closer to the natural nail, fine is kind of what you want, but you can always control the damage essentially by the pressure and your speed. As I get closer to the natural nail, I decrease my pressure. Flat is my goal. The product will tell me, and enough to where I can beautifully restructure this nail. I want you to know that when you restructure a nail, it is very important that you don't leave any bumpies, any grooves or grannies, grooves or crannies, nooks or crannies in that leftover gel, because structure soft gel, the more fluidity there is into that product is going to seep into every nook and cranny. That is why we want a smooth application. We don't want a lot of those little dips and valleys, because that's where your soft gel is going to go. I have my ceramic. Why? Because once I start getting close to the natural nail, my ceramic is a little more friendly to the natural nail. For me, a Carbide, when you put that on the natural nail, it's like taking a shaver, like a razor, to the natural nail, the way it just removes the keratin. Our goal is to remove the product and flush it to the natural nail without making a lot of contact on the natural nail. This is just going to be more forgiving. Again, that has been my experience, and this is my professional opinion after 10 years of using soak off gel only. How fast? Once we start getting to the natural nail, I like to decrease my speed, so that would be anything less than half of your RPMs. All right, so again, ceramic is my preference on the natural nail. If you feel comfortable, and if you were using something like that fine carbide bit that I just used from Staleks, you shouldn't worry if you have a little bit of a trained hand, especially to get down to the natural nail, because this was filing off like butter. All right, from here, what we want to do is go ahead and continue to our cuticle prep, and then we want to blend everything, so the product and the natural nails, then move on to our rebalancing process. So if we need to go over again how much to remove, the product told me, it literally did. So with my bits, this is how much I had to remove. You will notice with some clients, you are going to have to remove a little bit more because they might have more lifting. And the thing is, again, we cannot remove in pockets. So we cannot carve out. Let's just say our client had lifting here in this corner. We cannot carve that out and then try to fill it in with structure soft gel. Why? Because structure soft gel doesn't hold its shape like that, like acrylic or a hard gel, especially like a sculpture kind of hard gel. The more flowy, the more fluid your product is, the more even that remaining product on the natural nail needs to be for a rebalance. From here, I'm just going to go ahead and work on my prep. I'll show you that again using my Staleks implements, and then I will be moving on to my rebalance. And that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning with me how much to remove during a gel nail rebalancing service using structure gel. If you would like to learn my exact method for application and rebalancing of structure gel for different length nails, I show you that inside my master gel nails course. I'll show you how to use different viscosity and structure gel for overlaying natural nails, and also which is the most universal option. Look for the link down in the description box below. For any of the products that I use, including checking out a Staleks distributor in your area, make sure you check out the link in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.